ready for panel number 3, because up next we have Jorge Vigara, who is an animator, mentor, therapist, and founder of Animawarriors. Hi, Jorge.
Hello.
Your microphone is working. Yes.
Nice. Nice.
Awesome.
How I hate every time there's this kind of like difficulties in the very last second.
Tech difficulties can smell chaos, so it will only
Yeah.
happen 5 minutes before it's supposed to work. It's like printers. They can smell fear.
Yes. Yes. They know. So it's like, let's happen.
So, what are you going to be talking with us today, Jorge?
So today, today I like to talk about something that everybody's been talking about, which is basically AI. Um, when I was proposed to do a talk with you guys in this event, um, I wanted to do something that was useful. So I've done some surveys, talked to people, and after measuring the temperature out there in the LinkedIn and after talking to a lot of my students, I came up with the decision, with the proposal of talking about AI and trying to create a topic or a point of view that may help us to navigate these waters, because every day is different and every day something new is going on. So I hope with this we can help each other and see how we can continue navigate this and help us not only in animation but creatively in general.
I think these types of conversations are very valuable for people. And like, I know that for some people, it can be a scary conversation or uncomfortable. But I think, for professionals and students alike, and especially students as well, because I know so many students right now who are in school and they're scared because they're like, well, AI is coming. What am I going to do? Should I keep studying? Like, there's a lot of fear around it. And I think having that conversation of looking at it from both angles and really digging into it is going to help a lot of people. I think if I remember correctly, for this presentation, it's going to be you presenting for 40 minutes, and then I'll come in at the end to bring on 10 minutes of Q&A. Is that correct? Do you want to share your screen? Do you have material to share?
I'm going to be sharing my screen because I have some
Okay.
slides, because I have very bad memory for remembering texts. So I'll be helping
Okay,
myself
cool.
with that.
How about you start sharing your screen, and once we know it's working, I'll fade into the background, and
Okay.
you can go, and then I'll come back in the end. Let me know when you're ready to start taking questions, and I'll come back.
Okay, very well. Up. Now when I get another error. No.
Don't do that to me.
That would be fantastic. Okay, can you see my
Awesome.
screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
See me well and all that?
Yep, it looks like you are ready to go. So
Okay.
I'll pop out for now. You got the floor, you got the stage.
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, just sending a big hi and good luck to everybody involved in this event. My best wishes to all the challengers, and also sending my thanks to Agora for having me here today. I think it's fantastic. So, as I was saying, I'm going to be talking today about how we can stay human and creative in these times of AI. It's very fun because I've done these slides. I've been working on it for the last couple of maybe three weeks, and every 2 days something new was going on in the environment of the AI and the creative world. So I had to come back and change some things. So I hope it's more or less stay up to date, because um, this is changing fast. So while we are here, before anything else, just let me make a very quick intro about myself. My name is Jorge. I have 20 years of experience in the animation industry, mostly in films. These are some of the films that I have done: Hotel Transylvania, Despicable Me, Smurfs 2, mostly on Sony Pictures, but I've done some other things. These are just the most relevant. I'm also the founder and teacher of Animawarriors.com. At Animawarriors, our main focus is the creative and the artistic aspects of the animation arts. We don't focus so much necessarily in getting our students production ready. We talk about it if it's necessary, but at least you get an idea that we really focus on creativity. And I'm also a body and mind and transpersonal therapist since I've opened a new studio and helped people a couple of years ago. So as you can imagine, I really focus and I'm really interested in both the creative part of the human side and also on helping people in growing personally and dealing with trauma and all that and everything that is in the middle. So because of the times that we are living, because I've been hearing, as I was saying at the very beginning of the talk, that uh, lots of things are going on. You can see a lot of people that is very frustrated, very angry, very afraid of what's about to come. There is also a lot of people who is very empowered by it. So we have a little bit of both, but it's kind of like chaotic. We are not finding a middle ground. The conversations are not really happening. It's more fights and all that. That's why I like to come with these presentations, talk about the conflicts, talk about the positive things about AI. And so this is very important in this talk, and that's why I like to start by setting clearly what's the focus and what's the intention, because I don't want people and whoever is in this event fighting now and sending comments that maybe may not help us, because the focus of this is to help. Okay, so we are not here to debate who is wrong, who is right. We're just here to contemplate and to watch this situation, to watch what is really going on in all this process. And I'm going to be giving a few points or a few recommendations of what I think it could help us throughout this process of the AI era that we are getting into. So what's really happening, and what I think this is the reality. And the reality is that AI is not the future anymore. This is not a science fiction thing anymore. It's here, okay? And it's here to stay. So for those who are a little bit still in the negation process or the negation stage, let's just talk about a couple of sentences from people who are relevant to the world in general, but also to our industry. We have Jeffrey Katzenberg. You definitely know who is this guy. He says, in the good old days, when I made an animated movie, it took 500 artists and 5 years to make a world-class animated movie. I think it won't take 10% of that in 3 years from now. That's that. Rob Brejo, and I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing it properly. He is the vice president at Lucasfilm. He said, we need to use these tools thoughtfully and with the full permission of the talent. Okay. The CEO of Runaway, which is one of the biggest AI company these days, Cristobal Valenzuela. AI will dominate media content creation in the future, but our goal is to empower artists, not to replace them. It's about democratizing filmmaking and enable a broader array of voices and stories. So good things is that some of these leaders that are pushing towards the AI era are also having the feet in the ground, which is good for us. But definitely they're pushing forward. Sundar Pichai, CEO of Google and Alphabet, said that AI is probably the most important thing humanity has ever worked on. I think it has something more profound than electricity or fire. Big statement. And let's not forget about Elon Musk, which probably the most tricky of all the sentences I have here for you. He said AI will eventually eliminate all jobs, but I think that's not necessarily a bad thing. Okay. But also, he said in 2020, he repeatedly told investors in Teslas that the robotaxis will be in level 5, okay, making them fully autonomous. 5 years later on, the feature is still in limited beta, and Tesla quietly sold off the cars and had been reserving for that fleet, meaning that whatever he said in 2020, it didn't happen. Okay, so we are talking about all these things. We're hearing about all these people who are pushing forward. Some of them are so-called geniuses, leaders, visionaries, and we have to, my recommendation is that we have to be careful about that, because in this AI world and in general in the technology world, it's very easy to futurize, try to look ahead, predict, control. Part of it because it's good for the business if they predict well. But anyways, I'm just sending a reminder that no one can read the future. Okay, so we cannot really see what is coming ahead of us. Okay, we cannot really comprehend where is this AI thing is going on. So my first proposal here probably is the most important of all of them, is to stay always focused in what is happening here and now. We're gonna get so many updates. Google is gonna release something new tomorrow, and then OpenAI, and then another company will come, and lots of things are gonna happen. Lots of people are gonna talk about how things may change, how we may lose our jobs. But before hearing that and paying attention to that and letting ourselves getting lost in fear and anxiety and all that, my proposal is let's not do that and just stay here and now, okay, and see what is going on and measure this evolution and this era coming every day, day by day. Yes. So to help clarify and broaden a little bit the perspective of what is going on, I like to talk about the conflicts in a very raw way. Okay, this is to help many of us who I can see that may be too taken by the fear, too taken by the anger, too taken by the excitement too as well, because sometimes when we are focused on those kind of things, we just enter this tunnel view and we don't see anything else. So I just like to very quickly talk about the conflicts in a broad perspective, and I'm gonna just be talking about this, adding the two sides of the coin of the same conflict itself, just to, as I was saying, just to give a broad perspective. So one of the biggest conflicts that we have is when is the use of copyrighted material without consent, yes, versus human learning methods. Okay, it's been proved, we already know that humans, since we are humans, we learn by observing, we learn by copying, we learn by imitating others people's work. The arts are a very good example. Okay, we have, for example, in the arts, in the traditional paintings, how some schools that are very expensive, they ask you to copy masterpieces by stroke. Okay, like just imitate Van Gogh every single stroke that he has done to do this painting. So you learn by copying that. Another example that I've put here, for example, is how those who like learning, those who like dancing, how Michael Jackson is always one of those references that you go and copy and you try to do what he did because it's fantastic, it's beautiful. Why not? And definitely, we also see that a lot in animation. We see how we train as animators to copy how animators back in the time of Disney, or maybe more in modern times, how Pixar did. Yeah. This is a very fun. Yeah, this is a very fun image that I found a few days ago from Borja Monto. Borja Monto, he is in my opinion, one of the most relevant character designers in the world. And he just uploaded this into LinkedIn. Okay, I'm going to translate this because this is in Spanish. He says, 50 years ago, in the morning of Christmas, and then he opens one of his gifts, and it's a comic of Asterix and Obelix. At Marin, I copied and I copied and I copied and I learned. I've done this for so many years that today I'm able to draw them like this for this congratulations. And it's I believe it was 60 years of birthday from Asterix and Obelix. So this is an open declaration of how artists, we basically learn by copying. Yeah. And also there's this one, definitely most of you already seen this one before. Is a very fun image of Pablo Picasso in a quote that he said, "Good artists copy, great artists steal." This was a very fun quote 2 years ago. This day is something more complex than that. It's not just funny. It's part of the conflict of what we are doing. Okay, another conflict that we have is the lack of compensation and licensing structures versus the creative processes often used as inspirations or references. When do we use other people's works in order to produce ourselves? I have here some of my most favorite examples that are broadly accepted and that we've heard many of them, and there's so many more. I'm just putting here some of them so you got an idea. When the film editors, for example, use the temp music, when they are editing and in the process of editing, they use temp music, right? Which is basically they grab music from other composers and they start editing based on that. The funniest story of this example, from what I've heard, is that sometimes even at the end, this temp music from other artists and from other movies that are already been done, they have so much power in the story and in the team, the directors and the editors itself, that I've heard, I'm not sure if this is true or not, but well, I've heard this in the studios that apparently when the new composers come, they ask the new composer to make a version or a variation. And the internet is full of this. I've heard Hans Zimmer even talking about it in YouTube, how other composers were asked to do a variation of his own compositions, because Hans Zimmer is one of those musicians who is being used more as temp musician in the edit. So there's one. Another very good example that is how when we use as animators video references that are not taken from us, that are from internet, YouTube, or something like that. We do that very often. Or when, for example, in productions, we clearly use other people's work in dailies, for example, or in rounds to compare our work and to create a direction, right? I don't know you, but I've been working in a in few amount of different studios. In few of them, one of the sentences that I've heard more is just do it like Pixar. Just like Pixar. I remember, not these days anymore so much, but I remember like around 15, like 20, 15 years ago, the sentence, just do it like Pixar, it was a very common thing to be said in dailies and rounds and such. And I just have this very fun example that I don't know what to put it, but I found it in the internet and I found it too funny to not show it. But you get the point. Another very conflicting point is the threat to traditional creative jobs versus the natural evolution of change. Um, this is big because it comes down to the root and to the feeling of survival of each of us, the fear of what am I going to do if I lose my job, for example, and all that. And this is definitely is difficult. And because of that, many of some people may decide not to go with the flow with the change. But it's important that we remember that life is change. It happens in many things, in individuals, in our families, and even in society. I'm just putting here a very good analogy, like what is been happening, for example, in the agriculture. It's interesting because if I ask most of us, what do we think is agriculture, we may think that this is this point here, right? But the truth is that this picture in the middle is already changing. I mean, this is part of an evolution. Agriculture has been more like the picture in the left for centuries, just doing by people, by hand, and communities, and hundreds and thousands of people. And when the industrial era started, is when machines started to take over little by little, and this is where we are heading into. So part of the challenges, or in my vision, I like to say it, part of the gifts that the AI is giving us is that we have to face and understand that life is change, same as when we grow up and we get older, and the different ages in life happens. When we leave our parents' house, we have to accept some changes, or when we are fired and there is no way back, we have to accept those changes and move on and grow with it. When somebody of our family dies, there's no way back. That's how life happens, by changing little by little. Problem is that this one is happening a little too fast. Yes, but yeah, it's part of nature. Another conflict that also, this one is going to be interesting to see how it evolves in the next few years, is the legal uncertainty over ownership versus a deeper understanding of what is mine. So we live in a society where most of us, we tend to think, or we have the idea that whatever we create is ours. And the AI is definitely making us think that twice. So, for example, I'm just putting a couple of examples so we can see this conflict. Okay, imagine that one of us, we got tired of the city. I know a lot of people who has done that, and friends from the animation industry, and goes to the prairies and goes to the mountains and buy a piece of land and start building a house, following YouTube tutorials, okay, and making decorations and making a house based on the Lord of the Rings movies, okay. And after 10 years, for whatever reason, this person decides to sell it. Who does belong this house to? Of course, we know that legally speaking, this belongs to the new person who buys the house, right? But there is so many processes behind it, and so many references, and using other people's works, and the people or the person who has actually done it and created behind it, that ownership, or the concept of ownership will have many different layers, and it will be seen in a different way depending of who you are talking to, and depending if we're talking about ethically speak, if it's a conversation that it goes more to the ethical things or more to the law aspects of things, etc. So this is a very complex part of thing. But again, I just like to put it very easily so we can understand this concept of what we create is ours or not. A very good example, another one that I'm giving, is about when we give birth. As I say here, we are all sons and daughters of somebody else. So who do we belong to? Doesn't mean that because I have kids and I have raised a family and created a family, that the family is mine, or if I'm the son of somebody else, that I belong to somebody else. That's a question for all of us. So if you apply this to artwork and creative work, you can see the complexity of it. Yeah. So a last one, this is my favorite one, because this has been in the mouth of a lot of people, and we can see how also a conflict now is as well when we use some mimicry in the style, and when it's just like a natural process of creation, right? Like, for example, Tarantino has always been mimicking the movies of the 70s. You can just watch YouTube videos of him and documentaries, and he talks openly about it. He mimics and he copied what those movies from the 70s because he loved them. Yes. And also George Lucas, for example, he openly declared that he used Akira Kurosawa's work as a solid reference, or as a solid, let's say, more than a reference. He tried to copy it and use it as a strong influence to his work for Star Wars. And these are some of the images where he just compare, or whoever did this, compare just some of the most famous scenes from Akira Kurosawa on the left and George Lucas' Star Wars on the right. No one can deny that. He didn't even deny that, right? So hence the conflict. Yeah. So in summary, we're talking about a lot of conflicts that goes in many different layers, not just the ethical, not just the philosophical, many different things. It just comes to my mind something that also very recent happened, is that we got a new pope. I know, total random, but you will see. We got a new pope, and the new pope, he said, why did he choose his name Leo? And one of the reasons of why he chose his name Leo is because the previous Leo, 3 centuries ago, he was the one being the pope during the process of the Industrial Revolution. So I'm just saying this so you can see an idea how this goes beyond the physical things. When we have a religious entity, a leader like the Pope, considering that his name has to be attached to the changing era that we're living, we have to see the things as open as we can. And yeah. So let's talk about the good things now that we talk about the conflicts. What now? Okay. The good news is that with all this new AI thing, authenticity is basically what rises, what is left. Why? Because AI is going to be making the standard be everywhere. Okay. And the only one thing that AI cannot substitute is our deepest and truest and most honest humanity. Okay, that's what or that's what we are calling, and we sometimes we understand as authenticity, the genuine part of ourselves, the true part of ourselves. So, I'm just leaving here a few sentences because sometimes we are getting a little bit into psychological things and all that. But again, this is what I think AI is. AI is gifting us. Is gifting us to open the door to think about new terms, to think about ourselves, to think about um, as creatives from the psychological perspective. So, what is authenticity? Authenticity is what remains when you stop trying to be impressive, when you stop trying to call the attention, trying to be a leader, trying to create something that is trending, when you stop trying to get likes, trying to be a genius, a leader, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Authenticity is also when your body, feelings, thoughts, and beliefs are aligned, even if it's messy. When there is harmony in all the levels within, inside, and outside of yourself. Yeah, even if it's messy for you or for others, but everything is in the same space and harmonious. Authenticity is when you are creating or expressing something when no one is in it, when you are just creating, not doing it for the not having my phone recording me and telling, hey, Instagram, I'm going to be doing this. No, you just do it because you want to do it. Authenticity lives in your body, not in your resume. It's in your it's in your gestures, it's in your rhythms, it's in the way you do things, it's in the way you grieve, in the way you love, in the way you anger, the particular way you are and you express yourself without thinking, without planning. That's actually your authentic yourself. And being authentic is when you let your body express your mind, your emotions, and your beliefs, and you observe yourself while doing it without caring what other people thinks about it. You just let it be and you observe it. Yes. So this is fantastic because I think that AI is giving us the gift of being more authentic. And that's why my proposal too is that if we learn ourselves or if we put ourselves to grow in that authentic expression and we use the AI and everything that will come with it, as I say, all the new social norms, all the new laws, everything that comes with it, but having as a base a solid authentic expression, a solid sense of authenticity is how I think it will be we will be finding a good way to keep going as creatives and as persons in general, but also as creatives and as animators in this case. Yeah. And this is because I just want to have some nice shine of light and reminder of the power of what happened when you are authentic, when you are centered in yourself. When you are centered in yourself and you are authentic and you are genuine, you will face adversities and challenges with fierce courage and honesty. Yeah, because you are in yourself. So you will find how to do the things from that center. You will find a new paths with a new and a powerful sense of responsibility and the wisdom that comes from within yourself. You will also know how to take care of yourself and your family from love, with compassion and care. Because when you're authentic, when you're genuine, you are in that space where you care about others and you care about yourself. Yeah, you don't think about what other people think. No, you do your best to love yourself and to love others when you are in that space. You will also know how to be satisfied, creatively speaking, and you will find a way to create abundance. Yeah. So how do we do this? Okay, so this is just me giving some tools to practice and to cultivate this grounding or authenticity being. First, I recommend something that is basic. I call it the shield. This is just to help us to keep going. This may seem basic for some of you, but you will be surprised how many of us we fell into doing this. So first, my first recommendation: make sure that you have at least 6 months of expenses saved. Okay, just for in case anything happened. If you have a family, count these 6 months to your family. So my recommendation is that you organize your finances in order to make sure that you have at least that as an emergency package in case that you get fired or you need to move to a new country or this is very important because survival, if without survival and without having that, is very difficult to ground within yourself. It's very difficult to be authentic. You're always going to be worried about that. So let's start from the very basic, which is save money. Also, stay informed about your rights and about everything that is happening in the AI world. For example, I'm just sharing with you. I'm not sure if I'm clicking here, you're gonna see it because I'm just sharing. Yes, I'm just sharing. I'll send this to the link another time. But basically, this is just I'm sharing the presentation, but not what my web browser is seeing. I'm just sharing with you how very recently in my school we just had to create a new policy on AI and how we use it and how we want to use it. This is partially because of our vision and because how we want to do it, but also because we have to do it because of some laws that are we have to do it. Yeah. So some of these images, by the way, I'm created by AI, just so you know. And another thing that I recommend you, if you're comfortable, also is to start getting comfortable or to start to get familiar with some of the AI kind of functionalities. Same as if you know how to use a computer, it's good for you. If you know how to use a phone, it's good for you. So yeah, because this is going to be big and it's going to change a lot of things. It's good to at least get familiar and understand where we are going. Once that we have done the shield and more or less we understand the shield process, we go to the center, okay? And this is about emotional support, and this is a way to start to learn how to navigate all this new era. So very important. If you're in crisis and you have problems, ask for help. Okay, it's not of weeks. At the other, don't be carried away about the thoughts of being weak or not wanting to ask for help if you are in problems. Don't worry about it. Ask for help. It's okay. It's a good thing to ask for help. Okay, it's necessary. That's why also I say that it's important that we all have to normalize therapy. Therapy is something that is necessary. I think actually that all of us, 100% of all people in this world, needs to go through some therapeutic process, okay, to grow, to learn how to let go some things from the past that are still holding us and all that, and that are making us suffer a lot. So adapt apart from adapting a healthy lifestyle, just consider the possibility of going to therapy if you have problems. After this, some of the activities that I recommend are the following. And this is just me being more specific about what kind of things we can do in order to embody that authenticity and be more creative, be more authentic. So one of the things that I've been observed throughout the years is how by doing creative jobs in the computer and all this stuff, we are losing the connection to our body. So one of the good things you can do is start doing any kind of art that is, or even activity truly that goes through your body and happens to your body. You can go to sing, dancing, you can even go to circus or martial arts, but start to use your body and connect to your body experience by doing that. What is important that whatever you choose to do, don't choose it again, don't choose it because you want to get likes or because it's good for your Instagram or whatever. No, connect to your body and try to see what is your body want to do. Yes, and through what kind of activity your body wants to express. So there's so many, so just use your I always say the same, use your creative compass, which is your body. Come to your body and think, what is it that I want to create? Okay, what do I want to animate? If it's animation, maybe it's not animation. Maybe I want to dance. Maybe I want to paint something. Maybe there's so many different things. But through your body and listening to your body and following your body. Okay, so let your body guide you and let your body help you to understand what is really yours and what is really your expression. Yeah. But what is really important is that we have to understand the importance of practice. Okay, something that also I've observed a lot in my students in the animation industry and all that is that we are very impatient and we want the things to happen like this. No, we have to practice. Okay, so understand the importance of practice every day. So whatever you choose, practices every day. Okay, and if throughout all this process you jump into fear, you jump into anxiety and all that, well, we go back to the center, we ask for help, maybe we get some therapy, whatever. And when we are good, or at the same time whether we're getting some therapy and when we are getting help from somebody else, we keep giving expression to our body no matter how. Yeah. Now the most powerful way to give voice to our body is by doing it with awareness. So that's why I'm calling this the mirror, which is because basically the mirror is this point, but with the focus in being aware in your body experience or in your inner experience. So this is something that you can do in so many other different ways. There are a lot of activities that basically what they do is creative expression, but with awareness. Some of them are called, for example, ecstatic dance or 5 rhythms, which is a kind of dances. Buto is another kind of dance. Contact improvisation is just that I really like dancing, so I'm just putting my favorites here. But also clown and improv acting, which are super big in the animation world. You can do that because you learn how to come up with acting ideas by staying in yourself and by being in yourself and by being aware of how you feel and how your emotions express through your body. So clown and improv are, for example, are very good and very big for animators. Dancing too, of course. In another arts, you have also figurative sculpture, you have live and spontaneous drawing, you have so many other different ways of doing art therapy. Somatic voice work, which is for singing and all that. So again, this is expressing through your body with awareness in your body and inside yourself. Another couple of special notes or highlights that I like to give that also helps a lot is journaling, okay, and doing rapid and automatic writing. And this is important. I'm not talking about the kind of writing journaling that you see in the movies. Dear diary, today I've done this and that. No, I'm talking about rapid and automatic writing, which is basically you have a pad, a notebook that is your therapeutic notebook, and you just basically vomit what you feel. Sometimes you even don't look at what you're doing, and you're just fast. You're letting your hand write fast, and then maybe words start to happen, and you just go as raw, and you let your demons or the most beautiful things come out, but without thinking. It's not about creating something beautiful. It's about expressing and letting your body express truly. Okay, that's a very good practice. And other good practices that I recommend to help to this process are, of course, meditation practices. I give you here some practices that I like myself and I recommend: Zen, Mahamudra, Vipassana, Doshin. Yeah. But truly, in general, anything that more or less is in the line of personal growth, that basically allows your body to be expressed, is good. So whatever you find that resonates with you, it will be good for you, and as a person, but as a creative, it will really help you a lot. So coming back to the AI, the point of all this is that we use AI mainly as a tool, not as a replacement. And as you can see in this drawing, I really like this drawing, which I've used by interacting a little bit with some of these AI tools. The point is that we stay rooted in ourselves, and we let what is within us to grow, to expand, to express. And then we have the AI as something that we use, okay? But it's not going to replace us. Yeah. So what's important is that with doing these proposals of the shield, the proposals of the sword, and all these activities of expressing your body with awareness, you start to create using the AI, but from that center. Okay. And also, which is very important, with an understanding of the world requirements. Why I'm saying this? Because sometimes when we start to travel to within yourself, to within ourselves, and we start to, to cultivate our true self, and we start to cultivate our authenticity, our authentic part of ourselves, sometimes we get a little bit too selfish, and it's like, no, I'm an artist, and I want to do this, and I want to do that, and this is what I want. Do it understanding how is the world going, and understanding that, yeah, if you want to dance naked in the street, you cannot do it because you're going to get arrested and go to jail. Or yeah, so do this with wisdom. Yes, and that's why it's very important that you pay attention and you cultivate yourself, but you also look what is going on. You stay here and now, and step by step. Yeah. I'm finishing. I know I'm going a little late. Sorry, but I think these are important things to mention. Please don't do it alone. Okay. One of the big dangers that technology has is that it can be isolating. So talk to people. Okay. Look for small circles, people that you resonate with, and touch them and dance with them and paint with them and act with them and do a sculpture with them or do therapy with them, whatever. Okay. And talk about all this with them. Okay. And do it in a healthy way. We are doing this, or I'm doing this, with the hope that we start to talk about the differences and what is happening within ourselves in this AI era, understanding that each of us is going through something completely different. Okay, there is no two sides. There is I don't know how many was the population in the world today, but if there is 7 million persons, or if there is 7 billion human in this world, there is 7 billion sides. every single of all of us has going through a very different situation. So be mindful of that. But connect, okay? Just because you don't agree with somebody else or with your friend or with somebody who has done a Ghibli thing, you're not gonna talk to them anymore. No, just okay. Just don't lose the connection. So yeah, as I was saying, these are just some ideas that I'm giving as a kind of like a quick reminder of everything. Okay, just remember that to stay here and now. That means to acknowledge how do you feel now about AI. Is it help you in a way? Does it affect you in a way? And try to be here and now. Don't just no, but what if it changed? What if it no? Here, okay. So from here and now, you assess the situation, okay. And if you need to take action, then you need to take action. But maybe you don't need to take action, okay. Remember, this is something that will affect each people differently. So when you are talking about AI to others, practice active listening, try to be empathic, try to just put yourself in the other people's shoes, okay, and understand. Because there's a lot of people who is really excited about this and is helping people as well, in many different ways. So as a final thought that I'm sharing with all of you, this is what I think. AI will either bring us closer together and help us to thrive as humans on this planet, or even divide us further. What makes the difference is how we choose to act individually, meaning how each of us we choose to act from now on and communicate and relate to one another, and of course to oneself, to yourself. So this is something that is global, but it starts with each of us individually. And I'm a little too late, so I'm sorry. And this is all. Sorry, Vincent.
No, that was absolutely fantastic. I think all the points that you hit on. Pardon?
Yeah, I wasn't hearing, so now I can hear you.
Oh, okay. No, I just want to say that was a really great presentation on this topic. And I really like how you're looking at all angles of the issue and getting people into that mindset of being grounded so then they can actually receive information. I think a lot of times when people panic and we kind of shut down and we just like either we're like, oh my God, this is like everything's going wrong. We aren't in a place to receive information and actually be able to interact and think, okay, well, I could approach it like this, or I could approach it like this, or here's a path I hadn't thought of before. So I think the mindset that you're presenting to people is very helpful for students and professionals and anybody in our industry right now of a productive mindset moving forward. So that was really great.
I hope.
Yeah, that was fantastic. I don't know if we have any time. We have 5 minutes left before we bring on Alexi to do some feedback live for some participants. Is there any questions from the chat about what Jorge was talking about? Let's see. So I don't know how to pronounce your Twitch name. I'm very sorry. As a 3D animator, is there anything you would like to recommend learning in regards to AI that would assist us in animating specifically?
I would say just go back and see all the presentation. More specifically, is the the shield. What I'm proposing, as I'm just putting fancy words in order to help digest, but everything that I'm saying as under the shield, under the sword, under the mirror, and such are very good because there is no a particular answer for that. I think, as I was saying, every one of us is navigating this in a different way. So some animators may need to save the money because many of us maybe we're not saving the money and we are not prepared to do something else if we don't have the money, for example, and that's And that's the point. The first point that I'm giving is, let's save the money, be ready for changes, and be ready for you to ground, because without the money, you cannot work in other skills. You need that, right? But maybe some of them already have the money, already have done some therapy, for example, or not. And maybe you just need to start looking for a bodily craft, like painting. But again, this is different. I would say some people would say, no, life drawing, yeah, but some people don't like drawing. Maybe is improv, maybe it's clown. So again, depending of where you are, this is a different process for each of us.
I think it's very much like some people, it can feel like many can try and look for like, okay, what's the one specific tool that's going to solve everything? Like, what's that silver bullet? I think like what you're saying is a lot more, it's like, what is your toolbox? It's almost like an animation where it's like, you're not going to use the same principle in the same spot every single way for every single shot. It's broadening your skill set, broadening the tools you have to address a situation. So you can look at it and go like, what is right for me at this moment?
So then I would say the following. You know what's the best toolbox for yourself? Your body.
Yes.
Use your body.
About your body.
Just listen to your body.
Yeah. Which actually, on that topic, since people are doing 24-hour animation challenge, remember to stretch, remember to hydrate, remember to take rests, go outside. We've been at this now for 3 hours now, like as Gamma was saying, stretch break. So get up, move around a bit, get that blood pumping. You know, it goes to the brain, helps you make better decisions when you're animating. Unshrimp yourself. Remember your posture, remember your back, and you'll be good to go. So thank you very much for your time, Jorge. That was a really good presentation. And we appreciate you coming on.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Have a great weekend.